Welcome to Spirit Talks, because your spirit talks to you. Hello and welcome to Spirit Talks. I'm Susie Beiler.
And I'm Maximilliam Haver.
Today's Spirit Talk topic is transmutation.
Thanks for joining us and enjoy.
So Max, you and I have been working a lot with transmutation. Let's share with our listeners, what does that mean to transmute something?
Transmuting, as far as I've understood it, is taking some issue that you're working through in your inner work with emotions or thought forms and gaining the understanding that you need to. And with that, you come to a place where you can transmute the energy of it and receive the gift from it, the lesson, and then move forward and grow with that.
So let's back up just a little bit. Why would we want to transmute something?
Well, we would want to transmute something that is giving us an experience that is dense or heavy or we don't prefer. And being aware that we're having that experience is the first part.
Right.
And then transmuting it. So you would, a simple example, let's start with you have an anger issue, right? So your goal would be to transmute anger. Well, first you'd have to be aware that you would want to. Some people are enjoying their expression of anger. I've met people that enjoy
right?
that. So when you're at a place where you're wanting to transmute this, you would first come to understand why you're angry and then work through the process of releasing that energy, of transmuting that energy. And in that process, you would have to hold space for yourself as you're feeling these things and coming into a place of empowerment with that energy and emotion. And then once you do that, you can release the dense energy of it and integrate the gift, the lesson that you've learned from that.
So what we're really talking about here is personal growth and healing.
Yes.
That's why we would use transmutation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is it exactly? I mean, it seems to me like it's an energetic shift, like you're taking something that's one experience, you transmute it, and it turns into something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
I would call that alchemy. Or magic.
Yes, transmuting is a pretty common term in alchemy. Transmuting is it's that quality, it's that energy of turning one thing into another. So it's used in other things, and other examples is transmuting your situation in life.
So do we have a formula that we can give people on how to transmute something? It sounds like first we have to be aware of what's going on. Second, there has to be some kind of desire to change the situation. What's next?
Then there's the discovery and understanding of the situation.
Like getting the wisdom of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is this energy with me? Mm-hmm. What can I learn from it? What has it been teaching me? Mm-hmm. Why is it there?
Yes. And obviously feeling and holding space for yourself is a very important key in this that sometimes people get stuck on.
That's kind of a big thing. Maybe we'll do another discussion on that, holding space for yourself, because that's a pretty big topic.
Yeah. And then the final part of that is having the knowing from the wisdom and the empowerment from that knowing. So once you recognize and know something for what it is, it's no longer holding that emotional state or that dense energy over you.
It doesn't have power over you.
Yeah, you can choose to be in that energy and you can choose to step out of that energy. And for whatever experience, if it comes up that you want to experience that energy, you can.
Okay.
So it's more at choice once you've transmuted and had that lesson. And you'll have similar lessons sometimes come up with similar emotions, but in different situations. So you're learning mastery of the situation with the same emotion, or you can learn the same emotion in, or the same situation with different emotions.
So let's give people a real life example. I'll share. So recently I was sick, and what came up for me was I used to get chronic sinus infections, and I was sick with a sinus infection. And that happened when I was in my early 20s. But going back further, when I was an infant, I had all kinds of horrific things done to my body, such as antibiotics, because I had like excessive mucus and the doctors didn't know what to do about it. And I got in touch with this feeling of powerlessness as an infant, these traumatic things being done to me. And when I was an infant, I was actually doing something very powerful. I was in service to my mother and releasing some stuff from her being by me having excessive mucus. But instead of handling it in a way like getting Reiki or having a practitioner to, help clear it naturally from my being, it was suppressed. And so all of these things were swirling around in me, all these feelings about it, feeling powerless, feeling hopeless. But what I started to do was I started to transmute it. And for me, what that looked like is I brought in a lot of light and I asked for a lot of assistance from the light realm. And I had in my vision myself as an infant with light just blasting into my chest, into my sinuses, into my eustachian tubes. And I started to slowly heal myself. Now, typically when I have a sinus infection, I could be affected by it for 2 weeks. This one was a little less than a week, where it really took me out. So I'm hoping that I never have to experience that again, because I'm hoping that I fully transmuted everything. So sometimes this requires really going deep. People aren't always willing to go that deep. So what can we say to people to encourage them to allow themselves to really get in there?
Well, to understand that when you clear this and when you go through it and when you come through the other side, you receive both the lesson and the empowerment from that situation. And so a lot of times it's worth it. And a lot of times this situation won't even come up again. And if it does, it won't have almost any weight on you emotionally. Like you'll just observe it and you'll get to choose what you do. Like it's very freeing to be on the other side of it.
Yeah. So time will tell to see what happens with this situation. But I have experienced what you described, where I've transmuted other things in my life. And now I live a life of a lot of freedom because of all the transmutation work that I've done in my past. So real quick, I'd like to bring to people's attention one of the tools they can use in transmutation. And we'll talk about this more in another episode. But I've been using what I call the sacred fires of the unified heart flames. And it's important that I specify it comes from the heart, because the heart is a very powerful transmuter. And so when these sacred fires come through your heart, you have the right intention underneath the desire to transmute something, and you use it for the highest good. And so I call upon these sacred fires to assist me with anything that I'm transmuting, because they are the combination of all the sacred flames that are gifted to us. And many of these sacred flames have very strong transmutational powers. And so, yes, it's our intention, but there's also the light realm that assists us with the transmutation. So that's a tool that you guys can try. You call in the sacred fires of the unified heart flames, and you use that for whatever you are working with in healing yourself with transmutation. So every one of us can be an alchemist and use transmutation in our everyday lives to move forward and clear stuff that's been holding us back for eons of time, because it really is time to be free. We are in a paradigm of freedom. So I encourage you guys to play with this transmutation for the highest good and for your own personal healing. Thank you for joining us in this episode. Thank you for joining us in this episode. We'll see you next time.
Have a wonderful time, and may you find growth in every moment.